Doctor, 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 and doctor. What's she saying? Hairbrush, headrest. Jesus, where did you learn your Russian? J.C. Penney? A woman is flirting with a Russian man at a bar. She says, "Hi, handsome. What do you do for a living?" The Russian replies, "I work for the KGB." "Cool. Tell me an interesting story. About me or about you?" In Soviet Russia, we only had 2 TV channels. Channel 1 was propaganda. Channel 2 consisted of a KGB officer telling you turn back to what once to Channel 1. Okay. Seriously though, jokes about communism, they're not funny unless everyone gets them. 2 secretaries at the American Embassy in 1970s Moscow become CIA operatives after their husbands are killed, uncovering a Cold War conspiracy behind the tragedy. So Ponies is this 8-episode show that takes us to Moscow in the late 70s where women aren't viewed as valuable or important, and certainly would never be thought to be involved in covert affairs. They're persons of no interest, or ponies. But that's exactly what Emilia, Clarke, and Haley Lou Richardson end up doing. First up, this is a well-mixed story that involves suspense, anxious tension, a little bit of dark humor, some seduction, and double crosses. And it wouldn't work if the 2 leads didn't lean so heavily into their on-screen personas. With Emilia Clarke, she's B, a button-down, mainly by-the-rules type of spouse. She works in the U.S. Embassy secretarial pool and leads a mainly normal existence with her husband, who is a CIA spook. Well, as normal, as she can in a communist country where her spouse is actively working to thwart the whole government. But B is somewhat timid, very sheltered when it comes to Moscow and its environs, but because of her grandmother's lineage, B is fluent in Russian, something that does come in handy through the course of the series. Haley Lou Richardson is Twyla, and she's pretty much the complete opposite of B. While she's supposed to be a secretary, she never works. Instead, she views her time in Moscow as kind of an adventure and a party. Her most valuable skill is that she's impulsive and fearless, allowing her to dive headfirst into a situation without hesitation, or even forethought. She's extremely sarcastic, and when placed alongside B, they make for a dysfunctional but funny odd couple. Now, the whole impetus for this first season is to figure out who killed their husbands. And in the course of that, the duo begins gaining intel on key KGB and Russian officials, with the hopes that they'll never be suspected because they're women. And women, they just weren't used as agents or assets, at least in this world of storytelling. The banter and the hijinks the women get up to can be both nail-biting and hilarious. Even though there is a medium amount of plot protection and character conveniences introduced, the story still maintains a solid sense of unease and some trepidation that's coupled with an urgent momentum. Now, the series doesn't devolve into ridiculousness, but instead uses some of the humor to then accentuate the high-stakes situations that the women encounter. The pacing is also maintained at a pretty good speed, allowing portions of the story to pause for drama or character arc building before thrusting us into another worrisome scenario. And thanks to all of the potentially sketchy people that B and Twyla encounter, we as the audience also don't know who can be trusted, allowing for storylines that then add intrigue, sometimes even fear. In addition to Clarke and Richardson, a few standouts within the cast are Nicholas Podany, Artyom Gils, Adrian Lester, Harriet Walter, Petra Ninovsky, and Lily Walters. And they each work to add some complexity, suspicion, humor, even romance to the plot. Now, some of them are cryptic and mysterious personas, while others aren't trying to be enigmatic, showing us exactly who they are without any pretense. Now, I love how the show transports us to the late 70s. The cars, clothing, all the decor of the settings build the illusion of going back in time. It's also fun to watch the gadgets that are kind of being employed. It's sort of like a tenser version of Get Smart, where shoes can hide technology and listening devices are placed in unassuming areas. And kind of similar to Maxwell Smart's lack of espionage expertise, or even finesse, B and Twyla don't have any experience or training in spycraft, so they wing every single assignment, which then leads to a mix of apprehensive and some comedic actions. Thankfully, they don't always work out as planned, or even at all, allowing the story to sometimes avoid an arc-ruining convenience. The story can also sometimes suffer from a bit of repetition, not so much in the plot, but more so in the actions and the executions. And it isn't a consistent issue, but it does occasionally fall into this formulaic rut. And this also leads to some predictability within the episodes. Now, I wouldn't say it's obvious enough to ruin the show, but sometimes reveals will come and you'll have already figured it out, reducing the intended surprise or shock that the story contains. I mean, even though I had said the pacing allows for a good balance of development and action earlier, something strange that the show does comes in the final episode. Everything ratchets up in terms of speed and urgency. Now, some of this is a natural result of just reaching the climax. But also, on the flip side, it comes across as elements of the story just rushed so that they can be fit within the final episode's runtime. Now, I was still engaged and on the edge of my seat through a lot of it, but the shift was noticeable. And because all episodes do drop at once, you can binge it all in one go if you want, and so you'll probably notice some of these shifts in pacing and then repetitive formulas as well. So overall, Ponies makes clandestine operations in late 70s Moscow appear provocative and sketchy, full of danger, opportunities, and treacherous greed. Emilia Clarke and Haley Lou Richardson create a dysfunctional dynamic duo that you'll want to root for, yell at, and lose your mind over their proclivity to find trouble. From costumes and set designs to character and world building, the series creates the world of espionage to be both alluring and appalling. While the storytelling becomes a bit formulaic in its progressions, and there is a fair amount of plot armor and character protection, the story produces twists and surprises all wrapped in a compelling and sometimes comedic presentation. While a lot of the main story arcs have been resolved by the end of the season, I really do hope we get more of Bee and Twyla because they're just getting the hang of all this spy stuff. There's a bunch of sex and nudity, a ton of profanity, then a lot of violence. I give season 1 of Ponies 4 out of 5 couches. So what's your favorite spy show or maybe movie? I'm curious what's going to top your list. Let me know about it in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.